Hello, YouTube. Kevin here again. City Greener Strategies. The work of the staff and their board at nonprofits is almost as critical as the work that the nonprofits do in their communities. It is how the organization presents itself to the community. I've seen many nonprofit consultants talk about the staff board relationship as two engines on a twin engine plane, both of which are powering the organization forward. And to carry the metaphor through, I've seen them talk about the board chair and the executive director or CEO as pilot and co pilot. I have a problem with this framework because it does not imply who is making the key strategic decisions about the future of the organization. There are many examples of co-leadership arrangements that do not work well. The reason they don't work well is the authorities are not clear. I want to suggest a more outdoorsy version of how to think about the board and staff, and particularly the board chair and executive director relationship. And that is about canoeing. If you just jumped in a canoe and paddled around, I think what you might have experienced is a lot of zigzagging around, a lot of misdirection. The paddler in the back of the canoe is really the pilot of that little vessel. The paddler in the front provides the power. They're paddling just as much, maybe even more than the person in the back. The paddler in the back is steering the canoe. The paddler in the back is making decisions about where they're going to go. And in a whitewater situation, the paddler in the back is shouting out directions to the paddlers in the front. Quick note, the paddler in the front of the boat has a very important job aside from paddling hard. They look out for hazards. They're looking for things that are coming up, and they tell the person in the back what's going on and what's coming up. That sounds pretty important. They're not steering, but they're calling out for problems that are coming up. Sound familiar? I think your nonprofit needs to think about who's in the back and who's in the front when it comes to the board staff relationships. They're not one-to-one co-equal relationships. If they are, you're going to have a hard time figuring out who's in charge. You're going to have a hard time keeping the organization on a consistent path. You're going to zigzag around throughout your growth. I don't think it is important that either the staff or the board sit in the back of the canoe, but it's important to recognize who is and to be clear about why somebody's sitting in the back of the canoe and who is going to do it and how you're going to work together as a team to keep that canoe going straight. The tricky part comes in these small to medium-sized organizations that fall somewhere in the middle. And sometimes those organizations are not long after they were all volunteer. And that board probably has founders that participate and has people that are excited about the organization and in fact joined the board to do a lot of the regular work and the regular decision making. Talk through where you are in your stage of development as a nonprofit. If you're in this transition phase, it may be the most challenging time for you and your board to wrestle with this because it's not clear. It can be hard to have an honest conversation with people who you like and who are civic minded and generous and committed to the same cause as you. Bring in somebody from outside. Have them facilitate the conversation. If they're doing it, it's easy for them to call out hard truths and maybe to observe some things with the freshness of a new pair of eyes. Be honest, be frank, and recognize that, again, everybody's paddling, but it's important for one person to decide about the directions and which way you're going to paddle when the current picks up and the hazards get close. Thanks again for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. Have a great new year, and I'll see you in January with another video. Thanks.